To describe geospatial data, we have multiple choices. For example, first we learn the shapefile, then we learn how to use CSV file in Android app. And also, in this week we use the ground overlay, which requires 4 coordinates information with image format. In this video, I'd like to introduce various data format that works for geospatial data, and I want to focus on something called KML and GeoJSON. KML is mainly developed by Google, and I want to also compare with GeoJSON. This is more recent trend, and the data format is much simpler compared to KML. The first, we use the CSV in order to store coordinates data. CSV is just a comma separated value, and the data format is straight from the Excel spreadsheet, and it looks like just a table, two-dimensional array, and it stores rows and column. Here is one example, just like a place name, comma, latitude, comma, longitude. And we can just keep adding the rows. However, the data format is not quite structured. And in this week, multimedia data like a PNG or JPEG, 4 edges like top, bottom, right, and left corner. But this is not quite data format, it's just packed information together. I want to introduce format which we often use in an Android course, XML. XML is data format with a bunch of tags. The concept is like this. If I want to describe some data, let's say this is data format about my, let's say, game score as the player, and in the top hierarchy I have player node, and this bracket, player bracket, this is something called open tag, and there is close tag with slash. So these tags are pair, and you can enclose the nested structure inside tags. So in this XML, when you read, the top level, the root level is player, and the player contains data format, another data format node, name, and inside the name, the string value, like a key. This is the player name, and also it contains the scores. And the scores, it could be written in this way, like integer, comma, integer, comma, integer. So from XML to KML, the KML is just a specific format as subset, and this is mainly to describe geospatial data. So when you're writing a KML, like first you need to enclose everything inside a placemark, and the placemark can contain name and description. Then if you want to describe the coordinate information, you have to add the point node, then add the coordinates node. Inside the coordinates node, you need to add coordinates in this way. Longitude first, comma, latitude, comma, 0. So this one describes one single point on Earth, and when you read it, you have to extract the coordinates node, then you have to split by comma. And the next format I want to introduce is called JSON. The JSON is a similar structure like XML. You can nest nodes, and you can create hierarchical data structure. But the notation syntax is a little different. The JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. I'm describing exact the same data in JSON format. First, the JSON uses a curly brace to store dictionary. The dictionary is key value pair data. Key is player. So this is just a dictionary key. But inside the key, we have value associated with it. So you can read this JSON format like the player name is Kichi and scores, it's representing array using the bracket, the square bracket with comma. So the bracket, and it's using the integer, comma, integer, comma, integer. So the JSON is much simpler. If you want to describe the dictionary, which is JSON object, use a curly brace. And if you want to represent something in array, use square bracket. So the GeoJSON is also just a specific format for geospatial data. So GeoJSON looks like this. It's using the same syntax, using a curly brace for the dictionary, but because it's geospatial data, first of all you have to specify what type of information you're trying to put. So the first key is type, and the type is associated with some value here, the point. It can also contain a line string like a polyline or something like that, like a polygon. So we can just create different type. This contains the coordinates as the lat long information, and the coordinates you have the bracket, square bracket, because it's just an array of values. And the first element is longitude, and second element is latitude. So there is similarity, the relationship between JSON, GeoJSON, and also XML and the KML. It's just a specific data format. So when you're using JSON or XML in Android programming, you need to take certain steps. Let's look at the KML example. Let's assume you have some file name .kml in the raw folder. So you need to read the KML file. Then you have to create an object, document builder. So document builder is something for the XML, and you can access the node or node list using document builder. Then finally, once you extract the coordinate information, remember the KML is coordinates contain like a value, comma, value, so you have to split them. This is just a text information, so you have to take this text and split by comma. So the parse text coordinate, so this is CSV format. So this is kind of confusing because the CSV format included inside a KML, which is XML, but that's how the Google defined the KML, so we have to follow their format. The recent trend is GeoJSON because the data format is much simpler and more easy to read and more clean. First of all, you need to read the .geojson. The extension doesn't have to be .geojson, but it's kind of common practice to create a file name .geojson. And you just read the file from the raw folder. Then you can construct a JSON object. Remember that when you read .geojson, it's just a subset of JSON. So you end up with creating JSON object from the file. And finally, you can simply access JSON object, or you can access JSON array. If you're accessing the coordinates information, the coordinates is nothing but just an array of float or double. So you can just extract JSON array, then you just look at the element index 0 and 1.